All right, what is going on, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another KC Sports Report live stream. Again, this is coming live from the 810 studios. Shout out to them for letting me do this. And today I am joined by a very special guest in Ash Raider, and we're going to preview the Chiefs and Raiders game coming up on Sunday Night Football. So, first of all, Ash, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Michael. How about yourself?
I'm living life to the fullest right now. So, this is going to be a really good game. In previous years, the Chiefs have kind of had their way with the division. I don't think that's much of a stretch. But last year, the Raiders stepped up and they challenged us. And they came into Arrowhead and they beat us. Not only did they beat us, they took a victory lap. But they were able to beat us at Arrowhead Stadium for the first time in I don't even know how long. Derek Carr had never done it.
Yeah, no, that was his first win at Arrowhead.
Yeah, then we played the Raiders on Sunday Night Football. I can't remember what week it was, but we ended up coming back to win on a Travis Kelce touchdown that ended up giving us the win. But again, the Raiders took us to the wire. So this year, the Raiders and the Chiefs aren't really similar to what they've been in years prior. The Chiefs are 5-4, and I believe the Raiders are 5-3. So how are you feeling as a Raiders fan with a winning record at this point of the season, given the fact, and we're going to get into that, your entire franchise is in turmoil? Like that is unbelievable where you're at right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. What's funny is that before the season, if you were to tell me the Raiders would be 5-3, I would tell you that's where I expect to be. Like the Raiders, honestly, the problem with the Raiders isn't talent. The Raiders have always had talent on both sides of the ball. But the thing is, with all that has happened, that's the thing where I'm looking back like, wow, we're 5-3 with John Gruden, Henry Ruggs, Damon Arnett, all that debacle going on, and we're still 5-3, still in a really good position to not only make the playoffs, but to win the Afc West this year. Because, you guys, that's the thing that I'm really surprised about is that, the Chiefs are 5-4 and it's not really your defense that I'm really surprised about because I've kind of always known, like a lot of Chiefs fans have always known, like the defense has always been like a kind of like a problem, but your offense was able to, carry you guys in games. But now your offense is starting to look like a problem, not in terms of like a talent, obviously, but in terms of like not taking care of the football. So
that is, and that's something that Chiefs fans have been like, oh, it's just a fluke. But we're at week 10 in the NFL season, and we have like 19 turnovers. And I get it. We didn't turn the ball over last weekend. But at what point is that just the new Chiefs team? And I think that I kind of started to realize that, hey, we are on pace to break the turnover record. I don't think that this is a fluke anymore. So I think you're going to have a chance to at least get a few turnovers in this game. But we're going to have to see how that works because, not trying to bring up all of the Raiders' troubles this season, but like, John Gruden had to resign. Your new interim head coach is Rich Piazza, if I believe.
Rich Bisaccia.
But that team has looked really good under him. Is that a surprise to you?
It's not really that much of a surprise because the thing is with John Gruden and it's weird because John Gruden, a lot of Raider fans didn't want him back because his coaching was outdated and that the game was behind him, but the thing was I didn't think anyone in this coaching staff, and we have a very experienced coaching staff. Like a lot of our coaches in the staff used to be NFL head coaches, but they were bad coaches. Like Gus Bradley, he had the worst winning percentage in NFL history. Very next year when he leaves Jacksonville goes to the AFC Championship game. Rod Marinelli, our defensive line coach, he coached the Lions to 0-16, and with Calvin Johnson on the roster, by the way, and then Tom Cable used to be the coach for the Raiders, but why put so much stress when he's already dealing with a bad offensive line, like a young and inexperienced offensive line. So I think hiring Rich Bisaccia, personally for me, that was the right choice. I was hoping it was him because he's been an assistant for a very long time. He was with John Gruden in the Tampa Bay days, and he seems like a player's coach, and he seems like very prepared and detailed. And that's what you need out of a coach. I'm not saying he should be the coach moving forward, but then again, if we do make the playoffs and maybe get far, then
you need to evaluate it.
Given
all that he's had to go through, let's talk about some of the other stuff. The Henry Ruggs incident, we all know about it. It was very unfortunate.
Yeah.
He's not going to play football ever again.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that, that from a morale standpoint has got to be a killer in the locker room. And then less than a week later, Damon Arnett which my friend had a small part in. I know I showed that to Ash. He ended up getting released by the team after a video surfaced of him basically cursing this dude out and threatening to kill him with a gun. So that's not a good look. But I also saw after the fact, he crashed like 4 rental cars in the span of the previous year. Like, I think that this has kind of been boiling in the Raiders organization for a while now.
You know, what's funny is that with the whole, obviously the Henry Ruggs incident was very tragic and whatnot, man. But the Damon Arnett, personally for me, like, I'm kind of like, I talked to some Raider fans, they're kind of happy that Damon Arnett's out. Like, honestly, like, Damon Arnett was never good. He couldn't stay healthy, and when he was out there, like, he just wasn't good. And from the beginning, like, most Raider fans know like the pick. You know, we thought of it as a reach, which it was a reach. And but obviously, like, you know, picking him in the first round and, you know, along with Ruggs, like, that's 2 first-round draft picks that we had and just last year, not on the roster anymore, which is a bad look on Mike Mayock's part. Although John Gruden, from what I've heard, like, had final say, but still, like, Mike Mayock, if you don't know this about Mike Mayock, he used to play defensive back. He used to play defensive back in college and whatnot. He actually played for the Eagles for like a year and then got cut, you know, so he knows the position very well. And he believed in Damon Arnett from the beginning, even though he knew all the risks, all the red flags he had in college. Because, like, all the shit that happened to him in Vegas, like, no, this actually happened in college, you know, like, I'm not saying crashing all the rental cars, but like the red flags, you know, with his behavior. And whatnot.
That's why pre-draft interviews are so important. Like, you need to get to know the man and not just the player. Cause there's some guys out there that are incredible athletes, but at the end of the day, like, their off the field issues kind of
so I'm not trying to use
the other
it as an
stuff.
excuse, but with COVID, I think, you know, that kind of ruined, like you said, the draft process, because you got to know them in person instead of just like on a computer, you know. Like we're talking to each other on a computer right now, but at the end of the day, like, I don't know what you're doing, like, in your personal life. You don't know what I'm doing in my personal life. So.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that ultimately is on the player, and the organization shouldn't be fully responsible for it. But, like, you know, I've talked with you in the past. The Raiders have reached on some guys, and coming from a Chiefs fan, and I think that we've kind of over-evaluated some of our talent. I think that's a problem the Raiders are kind of starting to have too. It's just like, all right, you see value in these guys, but is the value there? And, like, I remember, did you draft Alex Leatherwood in the first round this year? How has he been?
We did. I hated that pick from the beginning. Hated it. Like, I was just hoping, because, like, you know, in years past, you know, Cleveland Farrell, Damon Arnett, I guess now Henry Ruggs was considered. Well, no, Henry Ruggs, I don't think he was really like a reach nor a bust. I think in his case, it was tragic because he started to grow on a lot of Raider fans like this year. Like, he was on pace to have 1,000 yards this year, you know, but still, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, I was just hoping that, like, you know, the Raiders wouldn't reach for a draft pick. Like, even if they take this player and maybe this player's potential isn't really that good, but, you know, he's still very talented, like, go for it. Like, just don't take a guy like Alex Leatherwood, who I knew from the get-go, like, just wasn't going to be a day one starter. He wasn't. And yeah, he is getting better now, but it's already like week 10, you know, like, I was hoping for a guy like a day one NFL starter, in which Alex Leatherwood has not been, and hopefully he can get better. But, you know, I mean, he's already had the switch position. I mean, we started him at right tackle. Now he's at right guard. So it's starting to, it's concerning, but, you know, obviously I'm going to give him a chance because, I mean, funny enough, Colton Miller, who's really our only good and consistent offensive lineman. I mean, at the time, I remember I thought the Raiders had reached for him, you know, but now he's, in my opinion, one of the better left tackles in the league for sure. Like, he gave up that sack last week against the
his PFF
grade cost the game, but that was like the only sack he gave up all year. Like, he's been really good.
Yeah, and like with offensive linemen, you know, I remember Leatherwood because I scouted Leatherwood. He was a very raw prospect, but like he came from Alabama, and Alabama has a pretty good track history with offensive linemen. So, like, I think that he would figure it out. But I mean, again, it all comes down to like evaluating talent. And I'm not just trying to pick on the Raiders and you, because I think the Chiefs have overestimated a lot of their talent. There's guys like Dan Sorensen and Ben Neiman that are still playing a lot of downs here in Kansas City, when you cannot tell me that if they got released tomorrow that they would be on another team on Monday. It just wouldn't happen.
Wouldn't even take Sorensen as a backup, to be honest.
No, I think, you know, it's sad, but the NFL is eventually going to break you down, and he is just done. Like his time here should be done. But like getting back on track and getting back to this game, it's going to be really interesting because the Chiefs are 0-1 in the division. I don't know what the Raiders' record is in the division. You lost
We
to
beat
the
the
Chargers.
Broncos and lost to the Chargers. So yeah, we're 1-1.
Denver might get swept by the division, to be quite honest with you. But
how are
this
they 5-4?
game,
Like that's crazy.
Their strength of schedule, man. Like they've played no one.
And they beat the Cowboys. Like that's crazy in Dallas.
I think the Cowboys lost game on them. Like I don't think the Broncos are going to be anything to be scared about. But I was listening. I believe it was actually at 810 Sports Radio. I think it was Seren Petro talking about it. That if the Chiefs win this game against the Raiders and like everything else just stays firm, they go from outside the playoff picture to like second in the division and like fourth overall. Like one win in the division and one win this week that would put them at 6-4 could drastically change the way the playoffs picture goes. Like I get it. It's open. It's week 10, and that's what I've been trying to say, man. Like it is week 10 right now. And if we win next week, I think that we'll be tied for the most wins in the AFC. Maybe it's second most wins in the AFC because of the Titans, but it's incredible how open the AFC is. And I think that, I think it was Seren Petro talking about it. Like, it's almost like the AFC is waiting for the Chiefs to wake up and take it. Now, if they'll do it, I'm not too sure. But, what are your thoughts on the importance of this game? And how do you see it as an important game?
It's very important for both teams because, both teams are like right there with the Chargers, because I guess the Chargers in first place, even though they have the same record, but they beat us. So it's very important for both teams to win this game to kind of keep up with the Chargers and the AFC West and the rest of the AFC. Like you said, if whoever wins this game is in fourth or third in the AFC, and this is a wide open AFC. Like I know the Titans, like they got a huge win last week against the Rams in their first place in the AFC. But again, Derrick Henry is hurt. He's out for the year probably. So, like if he was healthy, then obviously I think a lot of us would probably pick the Titans to win the AFC. But since he's hurt, like we still don't know who's going to win the AFC. Like, I know it's very important for both teams. It's important for the Raiders because like they definitely need to like have a bounce back win after the Giants game. And we got to definitely protect home field these next couple of games before the Dallas game, because if we could beat the Chiefs, then I'm going to feel very confident next week against Cincinnati. I'm going to that game, by the way, beating the Bengals. And at that point, we'd be 7-3, and I think we'll be all right. But I feel like if we win only one out of these two games, I mean, I'm going to be worried about getting another collapse, which,
And
don't even want to think about right now.
Patrick Mahomes has not been very good over the past 3 games. He had like 19 touchdowns in the first 6 games, but he hasn't really looked the same. I think he's going to break out of it, but the question is, will the offense adjust? I don't know what defense you guys run. You're going to probably run a 2 deep safety look because that's just what teams are doing.
Yeah, that's what I mean, I don't know if you know our defense coordinator is Gus Bradley. That's what he ran a lot, I guess, against the Chiefs, was that 2 deep safety, only rushing 4, and I feel like, our defensive line is good enough to only rush 4. Like, we rarely ever blitz, which I expect. But the thing is, though, like, I don't know if you saw, like, the Raiders, there was this list on NFL, like, Next Gen. Like, the Raiders are, like, one of the best teams. I think the best team when it comes to pressure rate, from guys like Crosby and Ngakoue and whatnot.
And that's important because, like, we've seen over the course of Mahomes' tenure in Kansas City that if you blitz him, he's going to pick you apart. But if you can get pressure with your front 4, and you guys signed a monster in Yannick Ngakoue over the offseason, and Max Crosby has been doing his thing for a long time now. Definitely. And looking at this game, the Chiefs are out their right tackle. We're going to have to start a 3rd-string offensive tackle in Andrew Wiley, and Andrew Wiley did not look good last week. So I think that's going to be an area in which the Chiefs are going to have to chip and maybe cover 2. Like they're going to have to bring help to help out Wiley, because I think that if you guys can force pressure on that right side, it's going to be a long day for Mahomes. Like I think if we can get pressure to Derek Carr, who has actually played pretty well this year, but last week didn't have a great game. If we can get pressure on Derek Carr, we're going to have a good chance to win this game. And if you can get pressure on Patrick Mahomes, you have a very good chance to win this game. Like, it's just a question of which front 4 is better. And
Yeah.
your front four is a little bit
Well,
better.
well, yeah, I definitely do think our front four is a lot better. It's funny because like we already matched the sacks total that we had from last year. I mean, getting Yannick Ngakoue was huge in the offseason, but I think some other signings that I think were huge as well. Like I personally think like our strength, not even just as a defense, but as a whole this year. Like I think one of the big reasons why we're 5-3 is because of our defensive line. Like it's not just guys like Max Crosby or Yannick Ngakoue. I mean, yeah, they're like playing like the biggest role as defensive line, you know, taking leadership and getting all these sacks and whatnot. But I mean, one of our defensive coaches, I think it was Gus Bradley, said in a press conference, 4 = 1. And what do you mean by that? Yeah, maybe like Yannick Ngakoue, he'll get the sack, right? But it takes a collective unit, you know, to like get after the quarterback. And guys like Quinn Jefferson, Solomon Thomas, you know, Carl Nassib, you know, but he's been playing really good. And then there was someone else in that defensive line I can't think of at the moment. Darius Philon. They've been playing like a huge role for this defensive line, so that guys like Ngakoue and Crosby, you know, can make their jobs a lot easier. You know, I mean, obviously, like, you know, we had Khalil Mack a few years ago, and I love Khalil Mack, but at the same time, too, like the difference with Khalil, just having Khalil Mack and having this defense is enormous, you know, because it's like I would rather have this defensive line as a collective unit than just having Khalil Mack and maybe Bruce Irvin.
Yeah, I mean, you can neutralize the great pass rusher. We've seen it with Chris Jones. Like they're going to double team him, but now he's back inside. And I don't know if you've watched the past couple of Chiefs games. Frank Clark's actually looked good. Like he shows a better sense of burst, and he looks healthy on the defensive line. So like he might be a problem. But you know, Chris Jones back inside. He's going to force your interior offensive linemen to really work. And I'm going to be interested to see if they double team him because we have Jerron Reed also on the inside. So that's 2 guys that can really get to the quarterback. And I think that, you know, your defensive line has been significantly better than ours. But ours has been probably hotter recently. And in football, it's all about streaks and it's all about who's hot and who's not. And, you know, the Chiefs are kind of struggling. Luckily, we've gotten a couple ugly wins. You beat the Packers 13-7, and you beat the Giants, I believe it was 17-13. But or maybe it was 2017. I don't even remember. But the point is, they were ugly wins, and the Raiders might have had a few ugly losses. But at the same time, like both these teams are not playing at the level of which they are capable of playing. So this game could be a get right game for the Chiefs, or it could be a get right game for the Raiders. But what do you think is the biggest point of emphasis if you're a Raiders coach on how to attack this Chiefs team?
Basically just trying to force turnovers on Mahomes, you know, try to get pressure with 4 guys, you know, try not to let Tyreek Hill beat you deep, you know, yeah, you know, just do that. And then obviously like capitalize in the red zone, which I thought like a lot of people are going to look back at that Raiders game against the Giants. I mean, we scored 16 points. Derek Carr struggled. People are going to say, oh, you know, it's because Ruggs wasn't out there. And, you know, to some degree, yeah, in a way that's kind of true. But honestly, we had no problem moving the football. We moved the football very well. We were 1-5 in the red zone. We were terrible in the red zone against the Giants. And that's going to be very key in this game is that, like, you know, we're going to have to like, because I expect us to be in the red zone at least like 3-4 times this game. And it's just a matter of like, what are the Raiders going to do with it, you know?
And the way that our
4 touchdowns in the red zone, then we're going to be fine. But if we're going to be settling for 3 all game like we did last game against the Giants, then it might be a long day. So,
well, the thing is the Chiefs have not really done a good job in the red zone either. Like we had the ball because we recovered a punt return fumble, I believe. We had it at the 10, and we failed to punch it in. Like I don't know what's going on with this offense. I think that they're looking downfield too much, and Mahomes just needs to take the small stuff. But like his brain is just ingrained to go downfield. So I expect you to play a cover 2 deep safety look. And the point should be to go over the middle. I think that Travis Kelce is suffering with some injury that we just don't know about because he got a stinger in that game against the Bills, and he really hasn't been that good. Like he's dropping passes that he shouldn't be dropping. He just looks slow. He looks frustrated. Like
because when I look at Kelce's stats, they look fine. Honestly, he's having a much better year than Darren Waller. Darren Waller's been very quiet, actually.
Kelce's had a quiet year. I don't know if it's been a good year for Kelce standards, but he's been pretty quiet. But I wanted to read these defensive stats for the Chiefs because I found this unbelievable. So in the first 7 games, the Chiefs were allowing 29 points per game, 405 yards per game, and opposing teams were converting on 3rd down 47% of the time. And in the last 2 games, the Chiefs are allowing 12 points per game, only 300 yards per game, and they're only giving up 25% of the third down conversions. That is night and day better. You can win with that defense. But I've been talking about for the last couple weeks now, the problem hasn't been the defense. It's been the offense. The offense has not scored points. And coming from a Chiefs fan that has seen possibly the greatest offense of all time, that is not something that I'm used to saying. Like, as a Raiders fan, how confident are you that your offense is going to be able to outscore us? Or do you still think that this Chiefs offense can, like, turn it on and come back from being so bad?
Well, I am confident, but I'm definitely not taking the Chiefs offense lightly. Like, I know our defense has been relatively good. Like, we're actually top 10, I believe. So our defense has been quietly doing pretty good. Yeah. But the thing is, though, like, it wouldn't shock me if the Chiefs put up like 40 on us. Like that. I mean, your guys' offense is that talented to do so. You know, it's just like, you know, it's all going to come down to preparation and, you know, detail, you know, and just obviously, you know, trying to, you know, neutralize guys like Hill and Kelsey, you know.
Yeah.
Try to make Mahomes work.
Oh, and that's the thing. Like, I feel like if it doesn't go, like if Mahomes is dropping back in the pocket and going through his quarterback reads, he's looking for Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill as his first 2 reads. That's not really a surprise. But after that, he just kind of gives up. When I think that guys like Josh Gordon need to be given more of a role. Like, I don't know if you've watched a lot of Mecole Hardman this year. He's basically unplayable. He makes very dumb decisions.
Yeah, I've heard your rants on Hardman, man.
He can't catch the ball. Like, he can't catch the ball. He's not a very good route runner. It's like he's unplayable, and you should go after Josh Gordon because, you know, I think my guy Josh Fan was talking about it, that Mecole Hardman's technically on pace for a record-breaking year. Well, in terms of his records, that's because the Chiefs are force-feeding him targets. If we were force-feeding Josh Gordon targets, he'd look phenomenal. And it makes me so mad when people are like, you know, Josh Gordon has got a chance, and he just hasn't done anything. He has 1 catch. We've targeted him like maybe 5 times. That's not a chance. Like, you can't expect to have 5 passes thrown your way and expect to do anything with that. So I think that, you know, targeting him more is going to be a must if this offense is going to get better, because I think the way you have to attack this Raiders defense, because they're going to play a cover 2 look, and they're going to have 2 deep safeties, isn't it? Tevin Morig and Abrams?
Morig. Jonathan Abram, Trayvon Morig, Jonathan Abram.
That's a pretty good safety duo, but you're going to have to find a way to go underneath. And I think that you got to run slants and crossing patterns and have guys like Travis Kelce and Josh Gordon coming over the middle of the field and can manipulate the soft coverage in between, because I don't think the Raiders are going to play with the box full. So obviously you're going to have guys back in coverage. I'm trying to find out if Clyde's going to play, because, you know, if Clyde's going to play, we need to be able to run the ball somewhat, because it's just like
that's
Mahomes.
The thing that, you know, if you guys are like, because, like, you know, like I'm confident this week, like, you know, that like we'll be able to like stop your passing or at least neutralize it. But the thing is, for you guys, if Clyde is able to play, and as long as he's not fumbling the ball, I mean, our run defense has been really suspect. That's really the one biggest issue with this Raiders defense. That's the reason why I think our defense didn't really struggle, but like at the same time too, like, you know, like we weren't really, you know, stopping the run against the Giants without Saquon Barkley, by the way. So that's kind of bad, you know.
Well, I just looked at it. Clyde's probably not going to play this Sunday. Andy Reid said it's a stretch. He's been out for almost more than a month at this point. This is going to be his 5th week out. But we have 2 other backs in Darrell Williams and a guy that you probably have never even heard of in Derek Gore. And Derek Gore came off the street. And in my opinion, I think he looked a little bit better than Clyde has, because, you know, Clyde is a solid player. He just isn't better than a lot of the running backs picked after him. And that's kind of frustrating. But he is probably your most talented back when he's able to return. But, like, I think that in order to beat the Raiders, you got to at least establish some sort of running game. And I think Derek Gore could be a guy that you see his name getting called a lot on Sunday. But again, I mean, I wouldn't expect you to know him, because a lot of Chiefs fans didn't know who he was until a couple days ago or a couple weeks ago. But I'll be interested to see how your offense plays against our defense, because, like, if our defense can stop your offense and hold you to under 20 points,
then yeah,
would
you're
you
gonna win.
would you be able to say? Well, I'm not even going to say that because we scored 13 points last week. But
Oh yeah. Oh, that's true though.
would you be
Yeah.
willing to say if our defense like shut you down for the most part that they're legit? Over the past 3 weeks, they've shown remarkable improvement. I think, yeah, I see you're on mute, but I think if our defense can stop the Raiders' offense, we're going to have a serious conversation about how good this defense is, or maybe they've turned the corner.
Sorry about that.
You're all good.
It's see, the thing is though, because like the thing is like, okay, you played the Giants, you played the Packers without Jordan Love.
Yeah.
Yes, shutting down our offense would be like, it would give your defense a lot of confidence because our offense is it's a lot better than the Packers without Aaron Rodgers, obviously, and then the Giants, obviously. Yeah. But like, here's the thing though, like, I mean, our offense, like, it struggled, you know, even though we had over 400 yards of total offense and whatnot, but it struggled in the red zone. I think it's going to be more about the Raiders than it is with the Chiefs, because if we had the same shitty heading into this week, you know, like where we just can't score in the red zone, we can't get points on the board, then that's going to be more about the Raiders. But yeah, I don't know, man. We'll see. I mean, you know, you do have some good pieces on your defense. Obviously, Chris Jones is one of the best defensive players in football. Frank Clark, I guess he's starting to get it together. He's still a very talented player. You know, he just needs to show more production, obviously.
And effort would be nice.
I like your linebackers a lot. I do like Nick Bolton. I do like Willie Gay. I think, you know, a few years down the road, they could be definitely one of the best linebacking tandems in football. Obviously, Tyrann Mathieu. So you do have some pieces for sure. But again, I do expect the Raiders offense to bounce back this game. And honestly, I feel like I mean, I see some people in the live chat talking about like Deshaun Jackson. I'm really intrigued to see how Deshaun Jackson does with the Raiders, because
forgot about that. You guys signed Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, say all you want about Deshaun Jackson, like he's 34, this and that, you know. But at the same time, too, I think he could still fly. I mean, I saw like he was quietly having a decent year with the Rams. He
just wasn't getting targets.
He just wasn't a fit, and plus, like, you know, like Cooper, when you already have Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods and Van Jefferson, like, you know, like obviously
now OBJ.
So yeah, now OBJ, you know, so
I mean, I think it's definitely not a bad pickup. Like that, that's definitely going to help you.
And he kind of fits what Ruggs' role was with the Raiders, kind of just like that speedster guy, you know, that can be a deep threat, you know, that can kind of like have like a 2D safety, like a safety, like, you know, high safety, always following and whatnot, leaving one-on-one for guys like Waller and Renfro, you know, and Edwards and whatnot. So,
see, the problem with our offense is we've had trouble moving the ball and scoring. And like our special teams and defense carried us to that win last week. Like Tommy Townsend, our punter, had 5 punts that got nailed in between the 20, and we recovered a fumble on the punt. Like our defense held the Packers to 7 points. Like our offense really hasn't been anywhere near productive in the past 2 weeks. So like that's why I'm interested to see what they do. But, you know, you talked about our linebackers. Oh, this is what I wanted to say. So, you know, you were talking about how the defense has some good pieces and how, like, all right, you know, we did hold the Packers without Aaron Rodgers to 7 points, and we beat the Giants without Saquon Barkley or Kenny Golladay. But I will say that in all of the points opposing teams have scored over the past 2 weeks, they've all been responsible for Ben Neiman and Dan Sorensen. If those guys were not in coverage, those points would not have happened. Like the Chiefs were pitching shutouts in both of those games defensively, and Dan Sorensen gave a big play, and Ben Neiman blew a coverage which led to a touchdown. Like all of these points are responsible, or all of these points are on account for 2 people. And if those 2 people hopefully don't play as much this week, but if they don't have a huge workload in this game, I think we're going to have a better chance. But like, again, offensively, if you ask me what the Chiefs are going to do offensively, I have no clue. We could come out and score 30. We could come out and score 7. Like, I don't know anymore. Like, if we get a good Patrick Mahomes, I mean, we didn't turn the ball over last week, but we just couldn't move the ball. So, like, if we get an offense that's not turning the ball over, they're able to move it somewhat regularly, we're going to have a shot. But, like, I can't guarantee you that we're going to see that offense.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of like, I mean, I don't know, man. Because it like I said, like I wouldn't be surprised if your offense goes off this game, but I also wouldn't be surprised your offense, comes out flat. It's just one of those years for the Chiefs that, like, like they're just going through an identity crisis, or like they're just having a down year, or both. Like it's yeah. I don't know. Like again, I'm not a Chiefs fan. Obviously, I can only go from what you're saying about the team. So,
and I'll tell you what, even though we're having a down year, I kind of sat back and realized that, hey, the AFC is wide open. You could still
yeah,
go to the Super Bowl.
yeah.
And, Buffalo, they beat the absolute hell out of us, but
But
they
then
have
lost to
not,
Jacksonville.
that win, they have not been the same afterwards. I think they channeled all of their energy into that game, and they just have not had the same
Yeah, it was like almost
energy.
as if that was
Yeah.
their Super Bowl.
Basically, I think that,
Yeah.
before the season started, I predicted the Chiefs to lose that game, but
Mhm.
it seems like the Bills kind of have fallen off after that win. So, like,
Yeah.
again, Titans don't have Derrick Henry. Like, the division has
The
three
Ravens
teams.
lost to the Dolphins last
Yeah,
night.
I mean, the AFC West
Or
has
2
three
nights ago.
teams that could make
Yeah.
the playoffs. Like,
Yeah.
this is wide open, and this is not just wide open for the Chiefs. Anyone could go to the Super Bowl in the AFC right now.
Yeah, like I feel like whoever makes the playoffs, like I think they have a shot. Like honestly,
Once you're in the dance, you have a
teams like the
chance.
Browns, the Ravens, the Titans, Raiders if we make it, like all these teams, Chargers, so
Yeah, and we got to take it one game at a time because we're both still behind the Chargers. But
right.
the Chargers barely beat the Eagles, and we beat the
Mhm.
Eagles by a touchdown and more. So, like, I think that
Yeah.
it's going to be really interesting to see how this division shakes out. I think that regardless, the Broncos are going to finish at the bottom because the Broncos just
Yeah,
don't
no,
look
the
that good.
Broncos, yeah.
But this literally could be a game because we haven't played the Raiders yet. We're going to have to play them again.
Mhm.
From a Chiefs fan's perspective, you got to win this game to keep up. Like, we're
Right.
worried about the next time we play later. We've got to win this game to stay within the division and just make sure that we don't fall back to 500 because at this point in the season, you don't really have any more excuses. Like, we need to win, and we need to win now. And I don't think that we can afford to lose this game.
Would you say this game this Sunday is a must win for you guys?
I think it is a must win because
Okay.
if this isn't a must win, what is a must win? Like, we can't keep pushing the must wins down the road. Like, at some point, you're just gonna have to win the games, and if you don't, you're out. Like, we play the
Right.
Cowboys after you guys.
Yeah.
I think that depending, I still think that's a must win game. Like, all of these games from here on out are must win games to at least build some momentum. Like, I think as a Chiefs fan and someone who kind of has realistic expectations for this team, I think you can afford one more win or one more loss this season. Where that comes from, I'm not really sure. Maybe it's the Bengals on the road. Maybe it's the Steelers if they figure their stuff out. I'm not really confident with that answer, but I think the Chiefs can afford to lose one more game. And if they go, that would make them 12-5. That literally could be good enough for the 1 seed. We don't know. I doubt it. But, if the Chiefs finish out this season only losing one game left, they're going to have a very good shot to make a run in the playoffs. But, like, I'm going to be interested to see how the seeding works out because, like, I talked about this earlier. If the Chiefs win this game and everything else stays the same in the AFC playoff picture, I think the Chiefs are literally a 3 or 4 seed, and right now we're the 8th seed. We're not even in the playoff picture. So 1 week can desperately change the future of this team and also our playoff hopes.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way too about the Raiders because, like, like if we win this game, we would be 2-1 in the division. We'd be 6-3, and depending on the Chargers game, like, because Brandon Rodgers said himself, Chargers could very well lose to the Vikings tomorrow. That's a very losable game. I mean, the Vikings, yes, they're 3-5, but at the same time, too, they've lost a lot of heartbreaking games. Like, they need to get rid of Mike Zimmer, but no, they're still a very talented team. With Cousins, Justin Jefferson, Thielen, Dalvin Cook. Like. I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I'll definitely keep my eye out for that game tomorrow before the Sunday night game. Hopefully the Vikings will win. And that game will be even more huge for us because I believe whoever wins this game will be in first place in the AFC West. Am I right?
I don't believe if we win this game, we'd be first place. But if the Chargers lost tomorrow and you did win, you would be in first place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Hold on. We might be in
No,
first
no, because
place.
no, you would, because the thing is, we're 5-3 along with the Chargers, and the Chargers, they're only in first place ahead of us because they beat us earlier this year,
Well, they
and
beat
you're
us
five and
too.
four. But
They
the
beat
thing is,
us
though,
too.
they would be 5-4. You would be 6. You'd be a half game up.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, that is true.
yeah,
And the Broncos play the Eagles tomorrow. That could be a trap game too. That could
yeah.
easily be a trap game.
I actually picked the Eagles to win. I think the Eagles are going to beat the Broncos.
I would love that. And
Yeah, no kidding.
this game is actually pretty important, depending on if the Chargers
Right,
lose. But
right.
we're just got to wait and see if that happens. But looking at this game again, how confident are you that the Raiders are going to win this game? You're at home. It's Sunday Night Football. The Chiefs. I've been on this train for a long time. Chiefs don't play well in prime time. They just don't. They've lost a lot of their games actually on prime time, whether it's Monday Night Football or Thursday Night Football or even Sunday Night Football. They lose a lot of these games. So how confident are you as a Raiders fan against this current Chiefs team?
You know something, like, even if, like, you guys were having a good year, like I said, I told you that, like, all season, like, or in the off season, right, that, like, this was probably going to be the game that I circle on the date that, like, that because I said all year, I still believe it, even though the Chiefs are kind of like having a down year one. I think the Raiders and Chiefs, excuse me, sorry, are going to split. I feel like if that game last year had fans, when we played each other, I think we would have won. And I feel like the home crowd is definitely gonna play an effect to this game. My confidence level, see, I'm at like a 7, if I'm being real honest. Like, I'm still feel pretty confident. It'd be a lot more how we would have been the Giants. That's kind of why I'm all like kind of like on the fence, because like honestly, like, like this team like is sus. Like, like I'm gonna be honest, we should be 7-1. Like, we should have never lost to the Bears. We should have never lost to the Giants. Like I know this team on paper is good, but at the same time too, like, they need to beat the teams that they're supposed to beat. And I do feel confident because I do believe that they will show up. I think we're let's see here. Aren't we 2-0 in primetime games? Because I know we beat no, we're 1-1, but at the same time too, like the last time we played at home on primetime, we won that game. It was against the Ravens. So no, and again, I just think that, like, the Raiders, are going to bounce back, I believe. But again, anything could happen, and it is a divisional game. Anything could happen. But, I feel good about this game. I really do. If the Raiders come out swinging and win this game, I'm going to feel very confident about this team moving forward. If we don't win this game, then I'm going to be very worried. So in a sense, like, it's not a game that, like, okay, it's not a game that, like, we have to win. But if we really want to keep up with the Chargers, you should win. If we don't win this game, then I'm still going to feel like pretty good because, again, it's still a wide open AFC. We could still make a wild card.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Would you say that your divisional hopes at that point would be kind of lost, or do you still think you have a shot to win it?
I would say so, because we would have been Denver, but we would have lost to you guys and the Chargers.
Well, keep in mind we play both of these teams again. Like we play the Raiders again, we play the Chargers again. So but I don't really know how that would work in terms of tiebreakers, because like you split. So I think that would go to the best record.
I think how that all figures itself out is AFC record, best AFC record.
Chiefs have a terrible AFC record, by the way. I think we've won one game in the AFC.
I think the only team that we've lost to in the AFC was the Chargers. The two other teams were the NFC, because like we lost to the Bears and the Giants, and they're both NFC.
I mean, I think at this point, the benefits of winning the division is a home playoff game and all that fun stuff. But like at this point, 3 of the 4 teams in the AFC West could easily make the playoffs. Like it is not a stretch to say that. And I think that I'm going to be even more optimistic for Raiders fans right now. And I very rarely do that. But I think that even if you do lose this game, you still have a shot at the division, because I don't think the Chiefs have shown anything that they're going to run away with this. I don't think the Chargers have shown anything.
Yeah, because you could win this game. But again, you said you had Dallas next week. You could easily lose that game. And
again, like I hope this Chiefs team has made the turn and they're going to be better from it. But like, I don't know what we're going to get. If we get an offense that can move the ball and a defense that plays half as good as what they did against the Packers, because, I've been hearing that, if Aaron Rodgers was going to play that game, the Packers would have shredded us. I do think we would lose that game. I just don't think that our offense was going to be able to score against their defense. But I will go as far to say that I do think that defense would have held Aaron Rodgers to under 30 points. And with this offense, usually that should be good enough. And the Packers have a very good offense. So, like, that is nothing to be ashamed of. And I think that, we've seen some of the changes. Juan Thornhill has been starting over Dan Sorensen. But Dan Sorensen finds his way on the field sometimes. And it's crazy that when he does find his way on the field, opposing teams immediately target him because I actually don't know if you know this. He is allowed a perfect passer rating when he's in coverage. So if he's on the field, Derek Carr should target him because it's a very good likelihood that he's going to give up a big play. But I think that we've seen some defensive change. But, I never thought that I would say this, but my question at this point is, will the offense show up? And if the offense shows up and we get an offense that isn't turning the ball over and they're running the ball effectively, we're going to have a very good shot to win this game. And honestly, we might have a good shot to make the Super Bowl if this team turns back to something like they were the past 2 years, because this AFC is significantly weaker than anything that we're accustomed to.
Right. And that's kind of how I feel about the Raiders as well. Because like in the years past, like I'm always like, okay, well, I know the offense should show up, but is the defense going to show up? And it's like, for me, it's like, I know the defense, even though like, again, like you guys are a very talented team. Like you guys have had your like ups and downs for sure. Like I'm willing to say that like the Raiders are going to score like maybe 20 or maybe like allow like 21 to 24 points. And to me, that should win you the game. Like as long as we hold the Chiefs to like 24 points or under, that's a win in my eyes. Like our offense should be able to at least score around like 27 points or more against this defense, but I don't know if I'm going to get that this Sunday because again, like, again, say all you want about the rugs and whatnot. Like we were 1-5 in the red zone again. And I know I sound like a broken record, but again, like that just can't happen.
You can't win ball
I
games.
understand the Giants have a decent defense, but like, you gotta capitalize on your opportunities. And if we don't capitalize on our opportunities this Sunday night against the Chiefs, because again, I do expect us to be in the red zone at least maybe 3 or 4 times. If we don't capitalize on it, it's gonna be a long day.
Well, and in the past, our red zone defense has been very, very bad. Like, and when I mean in the past, I mean over the course of the season. I think the first 5-6 weeks they had a rate in the red zone of giving up a touchdown 75% of the time. Like that is horrible. I think it was historically league worst. Like that is awful. And the fact that we are sitting here with a 5-4 record going into week 10 is kind of a miracle. And that's something that like, again, I heard too on the radio, but I think that if the AFC is ever going to put the nail in the coffin of the Chiefs, they got to do it this year. This is a down Chiefs team, regardless of if they turn around in the second half of the season or not. This is not the same dominant Chiefs team. When you faced them, you knew you were going to lose. This is not that team anymore. And if you don't get them this year and they have a whole offseason next year to regroup, it's not going to get any easier. Like we're going to address these issues in the offseason.
Right. And I don't think Patrick Mahomes' contract has hit yet, right?
Well, and the thing is, the Patrick Mahomes contract notion, like I think that's kind of dumb because like he's restructured his contract a lot. And the way that it is signed, we can sign players. The problem is we have a lot of money tied up in players that are not doing anything. Like next year, we're cutting Frank Clark. That's going to free up like $15 million in cap space.
That would be.
Anthony Hitchens is going to get released. He's going to save up like $12 million in cap. We're going to have some money to play around with. Now, the question is, do we sign the right guys? Because I meant to tell you about this earlier. What you've been able to do with signing linebackers and KJ Wright and Perriman is his name?
Yeah, we traded for Denzel Perriman, yeah.
Your linebacking core has looked good, very good.
Corey Littleton as well, yeah.
Like that's something that the Chiefs should have done because I love our linebacking core, but Anthony Hitchens is playing the middle linebacker spot because he's the veteran, and that's just kind of where Spags puts him. Even though Nick Bolton is significantly better at being a middle linebacker than Anthony Hitchens, and like I think that next year when Anthony Hitchens is gone, you're gonna have Willie Gay on the outside. Probably he's going to be the left outside linebacker. And I think that you draft one or you sign one in free agency, and you're going to have a 3-headed monster. Because I'm telling you, dude, those linebackers are really, really good. Like Nick Bolton is just a tackle machine, and Willie Gay is more of the athlete. But, our weakness over the past 10 years has really been the linebacker spot and stopping the run. And it looks like we're starting to address those issues. Like I'm happy with how these linebackers are coming together. But again, taking a look at this game, I address my confidence level? I think
Yeah, you said
yeah.
it sounded like, you were like it sounds like you're at like a 4 or 5 if you ask me based on your confidence. It's like yeah, we can win this game, but we can also get destroyed. Like it's that type of confidence.
I'll know in the first quarter. I will know in the
Right.
first quarter if this team is going to win or lose. And honestly, I think that you guys moved the ball last week against the Giants. You just couldn't punch it in.
Right.
We could not move the ball. And it's because I don't know if you've noticed this. And, I've praised Andy Reid in the past. I think he's a great offensive mind. I think that he is one of the best head coaches in NFL history. Something is not right with Andy Reid. And I don't know what it is. And I think that a lot of it could be stubbornness. But, like, the Chiefs aren't changing anything offensively. And defenses have figured it out. I never thought it was going to happen. But defenses have figured it out. And there's a simple adjustment that needs to be made. But I think that Andy Reid is so stuck on his ways of, no, this has worked for so long. I have the best quarterback in the planet who isn't really playing like it right now, but he can turn it on. And this offense should go back to normal. But, like, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that, when you look at all the great quarterbacks, they adapt. And Mahomes has adapted from year to year, but this is a pretty big change that they're going to have to make. And it's because Mahomes, like I said earlier, Mahomes' mind is downfield. That is where he is trying to put the ball. He needs to change that mindset and at least look for the middle of the field more, because there's so many opportunities with Travis Kelce. I think that you got to run more routes with Josh Gordon to get him open over the middle of the field. Like, it's just going to be, can they take the small stuff? And are your linebackers good in coverage?
Yeah, they're all right. Yeah. They're not terrible. They're decent,
okay. Well, if they're decent, that's going to give them a fighting chance. But, I am going to be furious if we do not target the middle of the field. But I also think that, even though Clyde's out, you're going to have to run the ball. Like, is your rush defense up to par, so to speak?
No, it is not good.
Okay.
That's the one weakness I think that we have on our defense is stopping the run. I think we're bottom 5 actually in stopping the run, so we're not good. I mean, if you let Devontae Booker, former Raider too, by the way, rush for over 100 yards last week against the Raiders rush defense, then that's a problem. Which is why, even though you said Clyde Edwards is allowed, it's like that doesn't matter because, I mean, we would still have to worry about your other backs as well because, if Devontae Booker can, and don't get me wrong, Devontae Booker is a decent running back. He's not a starter though; he's like a backup. So.
I mean, we're basically going to be starting a backup and then starting a practice squad, guys. So, we're going to have to test that defense because, again, the box is not going to be full. You're going to drop those guys back into coverage. If you can't do it against this Raiders defense with the issues that they've had stopping the run, it first of all means that the play calling is just not good and you need to run the ball more. But, I don't know if you've noticed, Andy Reid's a big run it on second and long kind of guy. It could be 2nd and 10, and Andy Reid just wastes a play by running a draw, and it just goes right up the middle. They get nothing, and it's 3rd and long. And at that point, you're just basically asking for Mahomes to bail you out. And he's done it for such a long time, but he can't mask everything. And I think that, Derek Carr, even giving some love to Derek Carr, because I'm not going to lie, I hate Derek Carr as a player. Dude is awesome. He's just a very good dude. The way that he's handled everything in the locker room, I would say that I'm a fan of the person of Derek Carr. Now, on Sunday, I hope that we have him on his ass 7 times. But I think that, the way that he's been able to handle the stuff in the locker room, and for a long time, Derek Carr has masked a lot of your deficiencies. Now, I understand you haven't made the playoffs since 2016, was it? Or 2017? Yeah. But I do think that Derek Carr is sneakily good. And if you don't take him seriously, even without Henry Ruggs or without some of the defense that he has lacked in years prior, he's still going to find a way to make it competitive. And so I think this is going to be a great game.
Yeah, for sure. That's one thing that I can definitely because I'm not like one of those blind Raider fans. You know,
Yeah.
I've said from like year in and year out, I don't believe Derek Carr is the answer for us to win a Super Bowl. But at the
Yeah.
same time, too, he still is a very solid quarterback. Like, he's not a bad quarterback by any means. I
No.
still think, like, you know, like he can be like like a lot of Raider teams, like, you know, if you look at years prior, have bad rosters, whether it was like coaching changes or bad defenses or like just not having enough offensive supporting cast. Like, Derek Carr will like get more wins than that Raiders team should have. Like that team in 2019, like, yeah, we only won like 7 or 8 games that year, but you know, that was without Antonio Brown. Like, that's how much wins I projected us with Antonio Brown to have, and
Yeah.
without Antonio Brown, we still managed to win 7 or 8 games, and like we were 6-4 at one point. You know, and despite the fact that we had our defense was horrible last year, one of the worst in
Yeah.
football. We gave up the most points in franchise history. We were 8-8, but at the same time, too, at one point we were 6-3. So at least Derek
And you don't know
Carr.
how much of that is due to John Gruden, because I don't think John Gruden's a very good head coach.
No. I think it was more so about Derek Carr rather than John Gruden. You know,
Yeah.
so like, you know, again, like I'm not surprised at the fact that we're 5-3 and we have a decent defense, but at the same time too, like it kind of pisses me off too, because it's like, dang, dude, like you finally have like a really good defense, but it's like we're still like kind of like the same team that we were the last couple of years. Like, why aren't we like this elite team that we were hoping to be with Derek Carr, but that hasn't been the case, unfortunately, you know. But with that being said, though, I still think Derek Carr, like, again, he's not a bad quarterback. He will make him competitive, and I do love him in the locker room. He is a natural born leader. That's the thing that I will always respect about Derek Carr. He is a really good person, one of the nicest guys in the NFL. You know, like I said, like, you know, if I were like, and the players love him. Like, I remember when he in that Pittsburgh game, he threw a touchdown pass, but then he got hit late and he was kind of on the ground for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Literally, like almost the entire Raiders team like showed up and checking in and making sure that he was okay. Like, the guys in that locker room love him. So
Yeah, and I think just from listening to his press conferences, he's a very good team guy.
yeah,
Like, could you imagine seeing what happened to Henry Ruggs and not defending him, but still saying that I love the dude. Like, that takes some guts, and I'm sure
yeah.
that is a very loved guy in that locker room for
Mhm.
that reason. Like, he looks like he has everyone's back, and
Right.
that's a good mindset and quality to have
Yeah.
for a quarterback. Like,
Mhm.
I think the Mahomes, we've seen it over the past couple of years. Like, when the team is down and out, like, he picks them up, and I think that this year he hasn't done a great job of that. But I think that, you know, this team needs more than just getting picked up. Like, that's why when everyone was like, "Oh, the Chiefs should go sign OBJ," or "The Chiefs should trade for this and this and this," there's a lot more problems going on internally than just trading for this piece or getting that piece. Like, it's more of a problem with what they're trying to do schematically than personnel wise. Don't get me wrong. Personnel, they could use an upgrade. Like, there should be no reason why Ben Neiman and Dan Sorensen are coming out on the field in big situations. But like I said, it's a problem more with what they're trying to do rather than the personnel that they're putting on the field. And I think that hopefully this game shows us that they're trying to adjust. But again, like, I don't know at this point. Like, we could see a great Chiefs team, or we could see a, a below average Chiefs team. And, you know, you talked about it, like, if the Raiders can't push it in the end zone, they're not going to win this game. I don't know if we can push it in the end zone. This could be like the wild card game, or I guess it wasn't a wild card game. It was the divisional game back when the Chiefs lost to the Steelers, where they beat us by field goals. Like,
Can you imagine
at this
this
point, it could be a field goal game. Like, who's your kicker right now?
Daniel Carlson?
It's Daniel Carlson versus Harrison Butker. Those guys could have a huge role in this game. Like, legitimately, one kick could change this game.
It very well could. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, you know, like, because like on paper, okay, you got the Raiders, right? Derek Carr, Josh Jacobs, Darren Waller. You got the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill. Like, the casual football fan would think, oh, this game is gonna be like fireworks offensively.
Yeah,
But like, could you imagine just being a low scoring game though? Like, that'd be
I can easily imagine it.
from a casual football fan, they'll be all like, what? Like, this is supposed to be a high scoring game. But I think us as fans, because we're both very realistic with our teams,
Mm-hmm.
like we would not be surprised because of how our offenses have been playing as of late.
Yeah, and I've said this for a couple different games this year. This has the opportunity to be what I call a shitty good game, in which
Yeah.
it could be a clunker, like 15-12, but it's so bad that it's entertaining to watch. Like we don't know what we're gonna see, but like if it's ugly like that and it's close, it's gonna be entertaining because like you have no clue what could happen.
Mhm.
And like I hope we see a better product, but like whether we see a clunker or a great game, it's going to be entertaining. Like I
Yeah,
do think we're
I
going to
do
see a good
believe
game.
no matter what, it will be close.
Yeah.
There's no way like it should be a blowout. Like I know you were saying from earlier, like I'm worried that this would be a blowout. A division
Yeah.
game again. There's a reason why we beat y'all last year, even though you guys were the best team up until the Super Bowl, obviously last year. Like
Yeah.
you guys, I mean, again, like we were the only team. I'm not going to count the Chargers game, by the way. We
No,
were the
you
only team in
shouldn't
the
count the
regular season
Chargers.
to beat you
Yeah.
guys, and then we didn't just beat you guys, like we destroyed y'all. Like we were up at one point 40-24 at
Yeah.
Arrowhead.
Yeah.
Like it
You
was
came in and beat us,
never
and
count
like
out a divisional game like ever.
now, luckily for the Chiefs, they went on to go to the Super Bowl that year. But they did lose that Super Bowl. But still, like I think that
But no, you guys are still a great team that year.
yeah, and
And the
like I
fact that
think
go ahead.
I think that even though this is quote unquote a down year for the Chiefs, the way that I see the way this Chiefs team is with the talent they have on their roster, because like this is a talented team that just hasn't really been performing.
Mhm.
This offseason, they're going to try to revamp some stuff. You
Right.
are this close from coming back next year and being that powerhouse that you were the previous couple years. Like, I do believe that you are a few adjustments away from being that. And it's just, maybe we were coming off of a Super Bowl high. I mean, you went back to back, and that's really difficult to do, which probably took a little bit of the desire to get back. But I think that, this year being 5-4 at week 10, it kind of humbled the guys. Like I
Yeah.
didn't expect this to happen, like
Yeah,
at all.
I didn't expect this to happen either, but that's the NFL,
Yeah,
I mean, just it's hard to go to a Super Bowl. It's hard to even get to the playoffs anyways. Like I mean, look at the fucking Raiders. Like we were 6-4, 6-3, 6-4 2019, 6-3 2020, and we still, I mean, and that's gonna be very important is like, like because now I guess the second half, even though we had that 17th game, but whatever, the math of it all is
yeah,
weird. But like, I mean, it's going to be very important how the Raiders can start the second half of the season this Sunday night. Because if we win this game, then I'm going to feel very confident, moving forward. Like, okay, we're going to be all right.
yeah,
But if we lose this game,
yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I'm going to feel like this weird feeling in my stomach, like, oh man, like here we go again. So
Well, you also
yeah.
got to be somewhat aware that, like, I mean, that the Raiders have kind of fallen apart in the second half of the season, and like
Mhm.
that Giants game wasn't good. If you lose this
No,
game, it's like
yeah,
you don't want to like continue the downward spiral, so to
no.
speak. Like you need to pick it up now, and if you don't win this week, you got to win next week. So like,
I mean, in some ways, like, like it'd be a blessing in disguise for a lot of fans like myself, because it's like, okay, at that point, it's like, all right, Derek Carr is just not the guy. Like, let's like, because again, there's going to be 3 great quarterbacks on the market next year, and I'm telling you, if we get one of these 3 guys, we are a Super Bowl contender. I don't care what anybody says, and that's Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, or Russell Wilson. So if that
interesting. I mean,
happens, then at that point the Raiders have to like accept it, and it's like if we're gonna win a Super Bowl, then we have to go out on the limb and get one of these guys. I don't care. Again, think about it. The Raiders had 2 first-round draft picks last year, not on the roster anymore. I think the Raiders need to start taking notes from the Rams and saying, fuck them draft picks. We're trying to win a Super Bowl.
and maybe the Chiefs should even take that mindset too, because like this draft class was phenomenal for Brett Veach, but like last year, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I would rather trade for a running back that could be more productive because he just isn't that productive. And like you've missed on a couple guys in the spots in which you should not miss. Like it's weird. We've almost hit more on our late round draft picks than our early round draft picks, which doesn't make any sense. But I wouldn't even mind getting rid of your first round pick or trading those away to get proven players. Cause like ultimately, a draft pick is great and all, but it's a draft pick. You don't know what that could end up being. Cause
Yeah.
I'm not trying to rub salt in the wound, but your draft picks in the first round have not
Mhm.
really been that good over the past
Nope.
couple of years.
Only
So
ones that's been good is obviously Josh Jacobs you see on the icon,
yeah.
and maybe Jonathan Abram.
Even him
Really,
though,
that's
isn't
about it.
Josh Jacobs kind of having a down year though?
I mean, yeah, but the thing is, it has to do with this offensive line. That's probably like I guess now receivers is kind of a weakness, but like the offensive line is our biggest weakness on our offense. Like, and it's not their fault either. You know, these are a lot of young and inexperienced guys. I mean, James Center, this is his first full year starting as center. He didn't even play center in college, but he did. I guess play center in the NFL. You know, he's starting to get it together a little bit. John Simpson, 4th-round pick, second-year guy. Obviously, Alex Leatherwood, right guard, 1st-round pick. Probably shouldn't have ever been picked up in the 1st round in the first place. Brandon Parker, his 3rd year, I think, at right tackle. And then Colton Miller, even though like he's been good, he's still pretty young as well. Like this is only his 4th year, I think. So this is a very young offensive line that's starting now to get together a little bit. Yeah, no, I think I told so many people this. I think I even told you this. A healthy Derrick Henry would struggle running behind that offensive line. I firmly believe that. Like I believe Josh Jacobs is still a really, really good running back. Like he's not like elite by any means, but like he's definitely above average. And like last week, it kind of showed like when this offensive line is playing well in terms of run blocking, like Josh Jacobs will take advantage of it.
And I remember I kind of told you in the offseason that I thought your offensive line was going to regress because I saw
it coming. You know, I didn't think it was going to be that bad, but I definitely saw it coming.
Yeah, but it's kind of crazy how like our defense wasn't terrible last year, but your defense got significantly better. Our offensive line was terrible last year, yet yours got weaker and ours got better. So it's just kind of like, you know, you see different ways that both the Chiefs and the Raiders have improved. But you know, we're at the hour mark. Why don't we get into the predictions and like final score predictions, and then we'll get out of here. So Ash, what is your final score for this game?
I don't know why. You know, I think it's going to be close. So don't take the score prediction, you know, like serious. And I think we're going to win this game by a final score of 31-20. I think our offense is going to show up in the red zone. I think our defense is going to get some stops. I think we're going to pick Patrick Mahomes at least once, and we're going to get like, I'm going to be honest, I think we're going to sack Patrick Mahomes like at least 3 or 4 times. You know,
you could. And Andrew Wiley is a very weak point.
I feel like Deshaun Jackson might get a touchdown this game. I feel like Darren Waller's going to have a big game. Josh Jacobs is going to get a rushing touchdown as well, I believe. And I think we pick off Mahomes at least once. Maybe we also force a fumble on him as well. I think the us being at home, you know, now with fans, you know, and the crowd's going to get really into it. Big game for both teams, AFC West football. So yeah, final score Raiders 31-20. But I think it's going to be a lot closer than that. I think it's going to be a 1-possession game. So
I have been thinking about this final score for a while now because it's just like, again, what are we going to see? We could see a Chiefs offense that comes out and puts up 40 and the defense looks phenomenal. We could also see the Chiefs defense reverting to what they were the first 6 weeks and give the Raiders three points or 3 extra possessions where they score touchdowns. And I don't even know. But I think that I came to the final conclusion that the final score of this game is going to be Chiefs 24, Raiders 20. Why don't we go Chiefs 24, Raiders 21? I think this is a game that gets decided by a field goal. And the Chiefs just had the ball last. They march down into field goal position. Harrison Butker nails a 50-plus yarder, and we win the game. Like that's how I see this game going. I don't think that our offense is going to be that dynamic. I think they'll do enough to score. I think our defense might force a turnover or two to kind of balance what our offense might do. But I would say 24-21 Chiefs win, and I think the Chiefs have moved to 6-4, and the Raiders moved to
5-4.
5-4. So
yeah,
like we were talking about earlier, the winner of this game, depending on what the Chargers do, would be in first place in the AFC West. Like that is absurd. But Ash, I really enjoyed talking about this game with you. Where can the people find you?
What's up?
Where can the people find you?
Oh yeah, so okay.
Plug everything you got.
So find it. I don't take this for context, you know. Okay, my channel name is Ash Raider, but for some reason you're gonna see it's called Ash Titan anymore because I did lose a bet to Billy Scott thinking that the Rams would beat the Titans without Derrick Henry. Turns out I was wrong. So for a whole week I had to be Ash Titan. Actually, tomorrow I'm gonna change it finally.
You can find him at Ash Raider though. He's
just
Ash
look up Ash Raider on YouTube. I make videos about the Raiders, make live streams about the Raiders. You know, I also talk baseball. I'm a New York Yankees fan, so you know if you guys are into baseball, check that out as well. And
guys, I know we all hate Raiders fans. Ash is a Raiders fan that I trust, and like he's gonna tell it how it is. Like, I remember watching
I
your
give out
John
the
Gruden
unfiltered
stuff.
truth about the Raiders.
Yeah,
Like I'm not one of those blind followers on the Raiders. Oh, we're gonna win the Super Bowl. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. Like, yes, I do believe we could win this game, but I also do believe that we could lose this game tomorrow. You know, because again, it is a divisional game, so anything could happen. But yeah, Michael, it was great for having on here. You know, great live stream as always, man. Like I said, this guy. I'll say the same thing about him. Like I don't trust a lot of Chiefs fans, but I do trust Mr. Michael Darcy. He will tell you the truth about the Chiefs as it is. Like he's not a blind follower himself. Like he knows his stuff. He knows the shit.
I've been crucified for some of my opinions recently about this team.
You're just being a fan at the end of the day. You're just being a realist at the end of the day. You know.
Yeah. For me, you can find me on Twitter. That's at KC Sports Report, as it says down there. Subscribe to the channel. I think we're like 5 or 6 subscribers away from 6.2K. Go check out the website. It's kcsportsreport.com. More stuff's going to come out there soon, but go follow Ash. Go check out his YouTube channel, and maybe I'll get you back on here after this game, regardless of whether we win or lose.
Maybe in a few weeks from now, when we play each other in Arrowhead, we can do this again.
We play you guys in a couple weeks.
Or I don't know. I know we play each other again, obviously, because this is the first game, you know. So I don't know, but whenever that time comes, we definitely got to do this again.
Yeah, for sure. Because at that point, we could be in the lead in the division, or it could be tied. I don't really know.
Exactly.
But I mean, that's the fun of being in the AFC West right now. You literally never know. But with that being said, guys, I'm at 8:10 right now. If you actually turn on 8:10 at like 5 or 6 o'clock. I'll be running the KU game, so if you don't hear anything, blow up my phone because I'm doing something wrong, but hopefully that shouldn't happen. But with that being said, guys, I appreciate it. This has been the KC Sports Report with Ash Raider, live from the 810 studios. Have a great rest of your Saturday night.
See you guys.